Hi Reagan, I'm Caprice. I first want to say thank you for choosing me to be your mentor. I have never been a mentor before, although I have been doing mixed media art for probably 10 years plus. How I got started in mixed media is I had kids and started scrapbooking when they were very young. My children now are 25 and 26, and I was just looking for, back in the day, something to do with my leftover paper scraps from scrapbooking, and looking for something to do creatively. And I stumbled upon mixed media and started using my scrapbook papers as part of my background process. So what I'd like to show you in a couple of videos, hopefully, is to start by utilizing scrapbook papers as a background. That's one of the backgrounds that is one of my go-to backgrounds. And then I have a couple of other techniques that I do want to show you that are really fun and where you can just utilize everyday papers, napkins, and different things to start that first layer of mixed media. What I have found is mixed media really is all about the layers. You just lay down papers and paint and embellishments, and you really start building up the layers and the picture changes. And I really like that. I like that there really are no rules. You can kind of make up your own rules, and I'm going to show you some of my tips and tricks and some of the everyday items that I utilize. You really don't have to spend a whole lot of money to do mixed media. A little bit on paints. I buy almost everything at either Hobby Lobby or Michael's or even Walmart. So I use just kind of everyday things, and I'm going to show you some of the things that I like to do. And then I would love to hear from you and see kind of where your questions are, what you want to do, and how I can help. So here is the first layer. I've got my mixed media journal that I think I got at Hobby Lobby, Walmart, Michael's, one of those. And what it makes it really a mixed media journal is the paper is on the thicker side, so it will withstand paint and so forth. A lot of people will put down gesso first. What gesso does is it actually coats the paper and allows things to sit on top of it, like glues and so forth. I don't do that. I can tell you that these are my pages. This is a paper background, and my paper doesn't really bend or anything like that. This is just a journal that I use for myself. I play around, I just get creative in it. It's for me, it's not for anyone else, so I really don't care. But it works just fine. So I don't put gesso down, but you can. So what I've done is I'm going to create my first layer. I've just cut out some scrapbook paper. I did kind of play around with it to see how it all fit on the page. I don't do matchy-matchy. You can tell these really don't go together or match. But when you start building the layers and you put paint down and everything, the designs of the papers will kind of fade away and they'll pop through here and there. So it doesn't matter if they don't match. And actually, I kind of think it's more fun to have it not match and to see what I can do with it and how I can then blend it and incorporate it. So what I'm going to do is I've got Mod Podge which is the glue that I use. You can get this at Hobby Lobby, Michael's, Walmart even carries it. And so I am going to first put glue all over the page. I do that first. And this layer is kind of a grungy layer. I just want to get the papers down. So I don't, you know, precision is, I'm not really caring about precision too much. So just get the papers down and then go from there. Okay, so here we go. Now I use, I travel a lot for business, so I have hotel keys. I have a whole stack of them here. And when I travel with coworkers, they always give me their keys too. So I have a big stack of them. But you could use gift cards. You could use old credit cards that have expired. And I like to use these just to get the air bubbles out. So, so I just do that. And let's see here. Actually, we're going to leave that there now. You know what? I told you I measured this all out, and then I put the papers down wrong. So there you go. So I am going to do this one here. And do this one here. Well, I'm going to put this one here. And I've got a little bit of white space up the top, so I think I am going to cut just one tip. Just to keep it going up at the top. And we'll lay paint over that and you won't even know that's there. And voila, we have the very first layer. It doesn't match, but I'm going to show you how we're going to kind of get it all blended. So now you're ready for your second layer. And the next layer that I do is I like to grab a couple of colors of paint. The paint that I've chosen are these three colors to kind of help blend these together. So I'm going to just use my fingers and I'll kind of show you. I think any day that you can use your fingers to paint is a good day. I think that's the best feeling in the world, is just really using your fingers. So I'm just going to, now this layer I don't really think about. I just am utilizing paint. I mainly try to begin with, to go over the creases of the paper where they're joined together, so that, you know, you're kind of blending that in. But I don't really think about it. I just kind of grab paint and just put it down and just play. This really is a layer that I have a lot of fun with. Whoops. This one didn't get enough glue. And it's popping up right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my Mod Podge and kind of re-glue that down. There we go. Perfect. And another thing that I use when my husband has holes in his socks, his work socks, I take them instead of throwing them away, and it's great to have in your workspace to clean off your fingers. So we're going to keep going with the colors, kind of just move them around. And this is kind of where you're pushing the papers back a little bit into the background. Where they're just popping here and there. All right. So there we go. Layer number 2. Okay, so now we're ready for layer number 3. So for layer number 3, what I like to do is do another layer with acrylic paints, but I like to kind of now have fun with patterns. So one thing that I like to do is, again, utilizing household items. I like to use as you know, I can make circles, do different things. So this is the roll from a tape dispenser that I've saved, a little cap that I have. If you want bigger circles, so here's kind of different sizes. This is a laundry detergent for the soap that I can use. This is just another little tin, but it's different size circles. Another thing that I found is this is non-skid. We have an RV, so we use this in the RV, but it's got little tiny bumps on it, and I love to utilize that as kind of texture. Here is Starbucks sleeve, and utilizing the ridges, putting paint on that, and kind of just making texture there. So what I'm going to do is, I think I'm going to utilize some circles. I'm going to utilize this cap for some big circles, and the paint that I use on this layer is things that are going to pop. So this layer, we kind of wanted to fade the papers into the background, so we use kind of complementary colors that were on the paper. Now I want to use some colors that are going to pop and stand out. I did see this pink here, so I kind of got some burgundy and some pink. Maybe I'll do some small circles, and I'll show you different textures that I like to utilize. So here's kind of a small circle. And what I like to do is I like to take the one pink that I just used and another pink and kind of mix them together and kind of make circles that way. So let's do another circle. And I really haven't figured out what I'm going to put on top here, so I'm actually just playing with the background. So not really worrying about how my picture is gonna lay, what it's gonna be. I just like to play first. Now if you're a planning kind of girl, you can definitely plan your colors better than I am. And sometimes I do that. I'll have an idea in mind, and I know what I'm going to do, so I kind of have more of a plan. But today I just wanted to play with you, and I'm just going to kind of just make circles and show you what I do. Okay, now I'm going to get my husband's sock again, clean this off so I can reuse it again. It looks like I didn't do that last time. Naughty me. Oops, excuse me. Oh, excuse me. So now I want to do some bigger circles, and I got a marigold color out, gold. And I am going to, oh, my paint is kind of sticky. So I wanted to do some bigger circles, and I'm going to kind of make these fall off the edge a little bit. Actually, paint's kind of old, getting dried up. Now good. And for me right now, I kind of still don't really have a plan. I'm just playing. And creating just textures and background. And we'll do one more right there. Now, depending on what I'm going to put down as my focal points and so forth, you know, some of these circles may get covered up, and that's okay. And some of them may, you know, pop out along the edges, and that's great too. I'll just do one more there. Okay. There's layer number 3. Okay, so now we've got the 3rd layer dry. This is actually the next day. You can either let it sit for a while, work on another page or another project, or you can use a hair dryer and help it dry, whatever works for you. But I just kind of walked away, came back the next day. So now it's time to kind of lay down your focal points and start your process of what this is actually going to be. So I picked out a couple of things. I'm going to say this again. I don't buy a whole lot of die cuts. I don't buy a whole lot of things. I like to just kind of utilize what I have. This is a cutout that I used from a Vogue magazine or something like that. I also pick up a lot of different magazines at the library. Our library has, like, for 25 cents, you can buy some used magazines. There's one that I really like. If you like to utilize a lot of nature, this magazine, hopefully you can see it, it's called Birds in Bloom, and I get a lot of picture of birds and flowers from this magazine, so that's a nice one. And somebody brings them to my library and I buy them for 25 cents. So this came from a Birds in Bloom magazine. I'm going to put all of these together, and this was actually a birthday card or a Mother's Day card that I cut up. So I kind of just use found objects, I like to say. So I kind of figured out where I want this to go. I'm going to kind of lay it down as such. I really like these flowers because to me they're roses, but they kind of look like a nest. So the bird just kind of settled right in there. This is kind of how I'm going to lay it down. So now it's time for the glue. I'm going to take these two pieces and glue them together so they are kind of one piece real quick. I'm actually going to use my fingers for this. And I'm gonna kind of just really lightly kind of put them together. And so then they're now one piece, and I won't have to be piecing it together. But then I'm going to get this one down since I want this one down first at the bottom. And I am going to use my sponge brush again, get this going. And what I'm using to glue on is a cellophane wrapper that something came in. I save all this kind of stuff too because here I can utilize the glue and it just protects my tabletop. So I'm going to utilize that and kind of use my card again, my room key, set it where I want it, and then I'm going to then work on these two pieces. Now, one thing with magazines, they do kind of want to curl, so you kind of have to do it fast before they really start curling, and get the glue on there. Okay, so now I'm going to kind of lay that down where I want it. Utilize my room key once again. This I do a little bit lighter because the magazine does like to rip a little bit sometimes if I go too hard. But and kind of have the focal point down. So now I like to, there's a couple of things that you can do. I really like to outline my focal points because then it kind of helps them pop off the page. There's a couple of things that you can use. I have a graphite pencil and then I also have a charcoal pencil. I really like the looks of these because when I go around, and I'll kind of actually utilize the charcoal, when I go around the focal points, I can then kind of use my finger and blur them a little bit, and I really like that look. But you could use a black pen, you know, a little Sharpie or a paint pen, but it's really just kind of just outlining it a little bit, and kind of just giving it some definition. And then the flower, I'm going to do just a little bit, not the whole thing. Okay, so then you can kind of see that it just gives it a little more definition, and you can kind of see it kind of pops a little bit better. Okay, so now it's time. I like to put little sayings or some kind of message on here, and I got a couple of things out, and I wanted to pick them over with you, but I just kind of wanted to show you. Not only do I have stickers that I've collected, but I also like to utilize, like this is Yogi tea, and on each tea bag they have a little saying, and this one says, have wisdom in your actions and faith in your merits. Okay, I don't have my glasses on. Have wisdom in your actions and faith in your merits. So I thought, well, we could do something like that on here. And then I also like to collect fortune cookies, and these are. I always go into Panda Express when my family is grabbing dinner and buy a bag of fortune cookies and utilize the fortunes. This is hold tight to your dreams, and I thought, oh, that would kind of be nice on there too. So we'll figure that out. But then I have another one that says hope. That kind of color scheme kind of fit in here. And another one is someone to watch over me, which it looks like she's kind of watching down at the bird. So I thought, well, let's see, that kind of works. I'm not really sure. And this one says, you make me happy. So I thought, well, that's kind of, I actually kind of like that one. Let's see, someone to watch over me. There was that one. That one I think I'm going to rule out. Oh, here was another one, dream. Because she looks like she's, to me, her eyes are closed. She looks like she's kind of meditating in a dreamlike state. That one also works. I don't know. I think I am going to pick You Make Me Happy. So this is just a sticker. So this one is easy, nothing to glue. And I think I'm going to there's nothing really down here, so I'm going to put it down here. And there you go. So here is our finished page. And I think what I might do is stop it. Yes. So